What's up, everybody? This is Dr. CI, and welcome to episode 12 of our 2018 learning series. So today we're going to be talking about white privilege. But wait a minute, that's not my space. I don't own that. I shouldn't be able to talk about white privilege. So I think I should look for some help. What do y'all think? All right. Judy!
Hey!
What's up?
Not much. How's it going?
What's up, everybody? Again, this is Judy Blair from Diverse City. She is a consultant with us that specializes in white privilege. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then she is going to give y'all some gold on this topic.
Thanks, Cheryl. Hi, I'm Judy Blair, and as Cheryl said, I'm a consultant with Diverse City, and I specialize in working with white folks around issues of race.
All right. So let's get this party started, shall we? So, Judy, when you think about how we define white privilege, could you give us a brief definition of what that is?
Definitely. So if we start out by defining a privilege, right? A dictionary definition of privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity that's given to a specific person or group of people.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about privilege in a phrase like white privilege or male privilege, then we're talking about a whole set of rights, advantages, and immunities that are granted to a group of people who we perceive to be white or male, right? And those advantages and immunities and special rights don't necessarily make white people's lives easy, right? White privilege doesn't make our lives easy.
That's right. Say it again.
White privilege does not make our lives easy.
We're not saying that.
What it does not do is make race a part of making our lives more difficult.
I see. Okay. And so if you have to think about white privilege and the way that it exists and the different types, could you tell us what are some different types of white privilege and how do they manifest?
Sure. Yeah. So there are kind of 4 layers of white privilege,
Okay.
and they all work together and intersect. We can't really pull them apart. But if we think about them as these 4 separate layers, they're easier to identify and easier to figure out how to disrupt.
Okay.
So the first one is structural.
Okay, structural.
Structural white privilege perpetuates this belief system that current racial advantages and disadvantages are normal. But if we think about the racial and ethnic makeup of the US population,
Okay.
it actually shouldn't seem normal that people of color are so vastly underrepresented in our political sphere.
I agree.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't seem normal that there are so few people of color in leading roles in film and TV.
Agreed.
It shouldn't seem normal that our prison systems are disproportionately full of people of color, especially black folks,
That's right.
as opposed to white people. Right?
That's right.
So that's structural white privilege. Number 2 is institutional white privilege.
Okay.
And here's where we get into sort of policies and procedures from institutions like banks, schools, government offices, private companies. And these are policies and procedures that advantage white folks and their behavior over people of color. Super easy example is when we look at dress codes.
Okay.
So there are ideas that we have about how to look professional, right? You gotta look good, right? Well, the US Navy, for instance, only changed its dress code policies to allow black servicewomen to wear their hair in a natural style that is not chemically straightened in July 2018.
What?
Yeah.
So like a month ago.
A month ago.
Navy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right? What took you so long?
Right.
So that's institutional white privilege.
Okay.
Next up, number 3, is cultural white privilege. And cultural white privilege is a belief that, or an assumption that white Western European norms and values are inherently good.
Okay.
And that norms and values from other cultures can just be dismissed out of hand. We run into a lot of cross-cultural communication issues with cultural white privilege, although that's not the only way it manifests. One great example is in US companies. Very often, going above and beyond what you've been asked to do is seen as a good thing, and it's seen as so good that sometimes it's actually expected, right? However, in some East Asian cultures, giving you exactly what you asked for is seen as being really good and what's expected. And so when we have East Asian companies working with US companies are expecting folks to go above and beyond, whereas East Asian companies are providing exactly what was asked for.
Okay.
And there's a mismatch in expectations that happens there just because folks aren't thinking about the fact that different cultures value different things.
Wow. So it's like pathologizing our behavior and creating these expectations around whiteness, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. All right, so now the fourth layer is interpersonal. This one is the most obvious one. Interpersonal is behavior between people that consciously or unconsciously prioritizes whiteness over folks of color. And so, really obvious example is telling a racist joke.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Less obvious examples are microaggressions.
Mm-hmm.
Like telling a dark-skinned person that they're really pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
Don't do that ever. I'm cute.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't ever say that. Right? A lot of times the person perpetrating the microaggression thinks they're actually paying the person of color a compliment.
Right.
Right? And that's messed up.
Right. Now, don't give us backhanded compliments, y'all. We don't need those.
Right. So those are the 4 layers that we're working with here.
All right. So Judy, you dropped some knowledge in that question about the different types of white privilege that can exist. If you had to think about telling people and dropping some more knowledge about how do they address their white privilege, what does that look like in action?
What that looks like is white folks having really good, serious, authentic conversations about the systems that we live in, right? Like white people alive today in 2018 are not responsible for having created the systems that we live in, this racial oppression, right? But we are responsible for trying to dismantle and disrupt it.
Right.
Okay, so you can do that by having conversations with people who want to have these conversations. You can do that by educating yourself online. There's so many resources online, including this learning series.
That's right.
And also looking at yourself with clear eyes. Like, is it possible that every interaction that I have is colored by my race?
Yes.
Right? Like, if I complain about losing out on a job to a person of color, am I actually making the assumption that no person of color could be better qualified for that job?
Say that, Judy.
Right? You know, if I get angry and defensive as soon as someone says that I did or said something racist, how is that helpful?
Right.
Right? Like, I need to take a minute, listen to what that person is telling me, and reflect on my behavior.
That's right.
So being able to have those conversations, ask those questions, is the beginning of disrupting white privilege.
Yes.
And once you start doing that, then it opens up into more stuff that you can do and not just babbling.
That's right. I mean, Judy came through today and really dropped some knowledge on y'all. She gave y'all some tools, and she even provided some additional resources. So if you get the chance, look in our description below the video, check out the additional resources that you have. Make sure you check out the other videos. And once again, Judy, thank you for coming through and dropping knowledge for us. I'm Dr. CI. This is Judy Blair, and we'll see y'all soon.
Thanks,
have a great
y'all.
day.